I must admit, this is one of the most difficult reviews that I have done. And I'm saying this because this is not a piece of kit that I can say that is essential to your sim rig. And it's also a piece of kit that is super expensive. So this is my review of the Cubic Systems QS BT1. Cubic System has sent this unit for review. And as always, I say what I want. They will not see this review beforehand or have any input about it. While I don't have an affiliate link with Cubic Systems, I have with some sim racing stores that may carry these units. First of all, a big thank you to all the members and subscribers. Believe me when I tell you that without you, doing reviews of these types of equipment wouldn't be possible. If you like the content that I do, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to get 100,000 subscribers. It has been so long right now, and we're not too far away. So subscribing does help the channel out, and why not become a member? Thank you. The first time I've tried the QSBT1 was at Sim Racing Expo 2024 at ImSim's Agara Movement Simulator. I think ImSim is the company that does movement simulators the best in terms of movement. It's the one that I like the best, at least. But what made the difference, at least in that experience with Agara, was the belt tensioner. A belt tensioner, you could probably consider a belt tensioner the poor man's movement rig if the poor man has a lot of money to spend on a hobby. Let's be real. The QS BT1, it is expensive. It is really, really expensive. The belt tensioner itself is €1,400 or roughly £1,400. Part of the price has represented that this is built in European Union, and in Poland generally that will be the case with products that are built outside of China. But also there's another thing about this belt tensioner is that the price of it itself has a lot of costs that are not totally upfront. Namely, you are going to need a harness. A harness that they recommend in their site is one that will be FIA approved, because with that, you'll know that after a certain while, the harness will not extend. Those harnesses are within 60, 70, 80, 150 pounds, depending what you choose. You will also need a seat with entry slots and one that is rigid, like a bucket seat of sorts. So that's, at least 200 more. And then you're going to need a sturdy rig, preferably aluminum, 80 slot high, so that means it will have 2 rails on it. I guess you could use this somewhere else in other type of rigs, those ones that are tubes, as long as it's rigid, but you would need to do some sort of jerry rigging in it. As this is a kit that is catered towards a very different clientele, hence the price, it is likely, though, that whoever this is catered to will have already this type of equipment to run it. Also, it is worth mentioning that the QSBT1 is not only compatible with sim racing titles, but also for those of you in flight sims, and there's even compatibility with MechWarrior 5 of all titles. I should really try it one day. And if you are on a PlayStation, this is compatible with Gran Turismo 7. But in that case, you will definitely need a PC as a middleman. You cannot use this standalone with the PlayStation 5. Specs-wise, the unit weighs 12 kilo, so it is a bit heavy. The 2 motors provide 200 newtons of force, or translated 20 kilo to each channel, so it is quite a pull. In terms of latency, there's a bit of debate about this. Cubic states that within their own system, within their own software, they do an end-to-end of 8 to 10 milliseconds, but that's only their part. Because you need to add some external factors like friction on your system, on your rig installation, the games themselves. So Cubic states something like, there's no academically regulated and clear way to reliably state latency. In my experience with this, whatever the numbers are, 8 to 10 milliseconds, adds 10 on top of it because of external factors. It doesn't really matter, because in my experience, this unit pulls pretty strong. And in terms of latency, I do not feel it. The unboxing experience isn't special. Unassuming box, the tensioner is inside with the power supply, the brackets, a small movement delete jumper, a USB cable, and a manual. Before the installation, I'd recommend that you remove the sticker, install the jumper, and take a photo or a note of the serial number, as it will be essential to download the software with it. Inside, there are also 2 of these rollers that may be helpful in some bucket seats as a way to reduce friction in your system With my own seat, it wasn't really necessary, and to be fair, these aren't compatible with my seat because the slots that I have in my seat are too small. I didn't have an issue or need for this. The install is a bit tricky because of the bracket in clearance to tighten the bolts. The brackets also have one slot each side for the harness hook. The harness connects at the back to the tensioners and mounting system, and after tightened, they're ready to go. I really recommend, and I cannot stress this enough, that you do your own work about the seats and about the harnesses that you use. Myself, for my own rig, as you can see, I have a very old and tired GT Omega XL RS. While this is a decent seat, it's really not made for this. At sometimes it really begs for mercy because it moves a lot, and I'm kind of afraid that in the future this may break down. But one of the reasons it's not just about rigidity, it's also about the inserts or the holes over there where the belts will come through, because they may not be suitable for running a harness. The choice of harness, it is critical for the use of your sim rig. Cubic System sent this Turn 1, a 3-inch one, FIA approved. That, in my opinion, makes it a little bit uncomfortable. I may try this later on with some 3-inch pads. I went into some BB Classics. This is really not a race FIA approved one. That is a 2-inch with some pads, and for me, it's a little more comfortable than this one. But you can feel the difference between securing with the 2-inch and the 3-inch, even if the end result isn't really that much different between one and the other. Though, what is important, it's the rigidity of the harness. As time goes by and this thing rubs, and also not to the same quality as one of these, something like this may then start to extend or even rupture. Onto the software. In order to download it, you have to put your serial number in their site before you download it. And it's a rather complicated piece of software, but because it covers their whole lineup of movement rigs and, of course, the belt tensioner. From the start, it will ask you to go to the Action Center to update games information and to do firmware updates. In the software, you can download profiles or create your own ones. However, I don't particularly like how this software organizes, or rather keeps unorganized. Anyways, in the profiles, you can change so many options of the belt tensioner. I'd urge you to try them around, but I must say that the stock ones are really, really good. There's a profile browser of sorts, but this doesn't really save to the game. It creates a new profile, a new tile in the center, so if you have more than one, it just becomes quite annoying. I really wish this software was easier to use, more in line to what you see with wheelbases and all of the ecosystem. This software will also apply the profiles automatically if you want. As a side note, the Cubic System software, it is compatible with Elgato. That means if you want to change profiles on the go using your Stream Deck or to pause your system, that sometimes I do, that can be really easily done. It's just basically drag and drop, just find them on the Elgato Action Center. This review has taken its sweet time. In reality, I've had this installed for almost 2 months because I really wanted to see if this harness is not a gimmick. For example, what happens to me is when I receive with VR, when I check VR, I much rather not use VR after a couple of days of use because it is tiring. The harness is a really expensive piece of kit, and I would like to know that after a couple of hours, after a couple of days or weeks, I would like to know if I would go back to my previous system. I'm very conservative in a way that I approach my sim rig. I like the keep it simple, stupid principle. And in this case, even though it adds complexity to my sim rig, I much rather use the belt tensioner. This thing is a riot. Even though what I'm driving is something that is probably going to be very popular by users of this unit or this type of unit, in GT3s, in Formula cars, stuff of the like, road racing, I would heavily urge you not to stick yourself just with it. I'll show you a few ways to use this that are actually quite fun. But what this does while I'm using it, so I can explain it to you, is add an extra level of immersion, one that is actually more physical other than just a 4-seat back. It really tries to trick your brain into thinking there is actually some G's, and it does it in a very clever way. For example, we're turning right, and it pushes me on the left side, trying to emulate that the car is turning to the right, you know? It gives me a little bit of acceleration, force as well, constant when we're accelerating in the upshift and downshift. It gives you a little bit of a kick, sometimes a bit too harsh, but you can tune that down. And now, for example, here at turn 1, very heavy place to brake. It gives you a lot of force, making you think that you are actually being pulled forward. And now the acceleration pulled back and all of that stuff. So this is interesting. It's also a way to rely on the brakes or rely on the force to tell you how much you are actually braking. I highly doubt this will make you faster in any shape or form or more consistent. For me, this is about immersion, and that word is definitely overused in sim racing a lot. But yeah, it's for immersion, but it's not immersion in the way that is, oh, I'm trying to emulate a road racing car or the sorts. This immersion is the fun immersion. It's the same type of force feedback fun that you're gonna get. Probably even more than that. This feels a little bit different than just a steering wheel. It is a riot in games like this, but I think other games might just take the cake. The traditional way to test sim racing equipment will be inside of a circuit. I like to open up my spectrum, broaden up my horizons to test it. Others will say,
listen, you spanner, rally, right now, don't make me unsubscribe.
I like doing the tollgate because it's a really good way to exacerbate some of the issues that a product may have. Everything that is good and everything that is bad. That's why you see very often in my reviews, I'm either drifting or going downhill here, because it's a really good, fun way to test a piece of kit. And with the belt tensioner, not only that continues to be the case, it really is the case. Because essentially what we're driving here is a 80s shitbox around the public roads, virtual of course, and everything that is this belt tensioner, it shows it really well, because you are going around these corners so fast. This thing doesn't have a lot of grip. You start to slide around and you feel the belts telling you exactly that. Look, the rear is loosening up. You start to lose traction at the rear because you are throttling it up. You are doing it. This is showing you exactly that. You are turning into this very fast corner, understeering. Now I'm braking into this long left. This belt shows you that. You go on the S's. This belt shows you that, including the loss of traction that normally happens here with this specific car. So everything that is good about this belt, it really exacerbates. It really shows you what the car is doing, and best of it, it's not something that is like you have to try to figure out what the force feedback is doing or whatever. No, this is super organic, and it's really natural to understand what is going on. And the Toge, for me, continues to be one of the best ways to check a product. After Danny Lee consistently was saying, you have to try this on rally, try rally. After 1 month of hearing that on stream, do it now, and you have to try rally. He's totally right. And for me, it's for the same reasons really, that I like so much Toge, because the belt tensioner really tells you the sense of danger much more than a circuit racing could, because circuit racing in many ways it is kind of repeatable, and you can expect more or less what you're gonna get, because it's the same thing lap in, lap out in most cases. You know, you're doing always the same braking points. You're always trying to hit those braking points, and essentially it is the same thing. But with rally and Toge, everything is so much more dynamic. Everything moves. This is organic. This is like, I'm never attaching a corner
I'm having attacking a corner, even though I've done Nervidairo here at EA, WRC so many times. I'm never doing it in the exact same way. And the loss of traction and the angle that you give around the corners, it changes completely the way that the belt tensioner is responding. And one thing I need to say, you really need to make sure that you have a comfortable belt, because if you don't have a comfortable belt, stuff like rally will definitely hurt you, because these things, the belt tensioner has some quite interesting force, and with a oh my god, and with a different belt, it may hurt you quite a bit, so you need to be careful with that. And in rally even much more so, because this is really always having some sort of movement, some sort of rattling. It's hard to talk while doing this, but essentially Danny Lee is right. You have to try it with rally. The sense of danger is really here, as it is in Toge, and it's one of the best representations of what the QSBT1 is.
As for conclusions, it's going to be a real weird one, because this is the most unique piece of equipment that I reviewed here. Normally it's wheelbases, pedals, wheels, and the likes. The QSBT1 is the single piece of equipment that I've installed in my rig that has increased the immersion to very high levels, bar the wheelbase, but in cases more than the wheelbase itself. And I'm saying this because opposite to VR, it is able to do so while not having hitting a wall of disconnection sometimes that I have with VR. And even though it is a physical thing, it doesn't make me feel as tired as I become when I drive with VR. This is not going to make you a better driver. This is not going to make you a more consistent driver. I think in places, especially depending on your setup, it may make you less consistent. And I need to state, this is a piece of equipment that requires absolute commitment to your sim rig. It requires you to spend money besides just of this harness. It's physical. It is tiring at times. But you know what? Doesn't matter. This is the first time that I've said to myself while reviewing piece of kit in this channel, screw rationality. This thing rocks.